What's up guys, Weldon Customs here, and we have a big review. It is the S.H.Figuarts Superman figure from the Injustice Gods Among Us series. Man, I am excited and stoked to finally have this in hand. I was not expecting to find this, honestly. I actually found it in my local Japanese anime store here in New York City. It looks pretty cool. If you guys want to know, it's called Tokyo Toys. They had about 1 or 2 left, so if you're in the city, go try to pick it up early. Here's the back of it, looks pretty nice. And yeah, you know, this is one of my favorite incarnations of Superman, and I heard some mixed reviews of this figure, so I guess we'll find out ourselves. So sit back and let's relax and see how he is. Alright guys, so here is Superman out of the box. Now I had a couple minutes to him, played around with him, see what I like about him, see what I don't like about him. This will be a lengthy review, but I'll try my best to be very detailed, to go over everything about him to my best abilities. In the back there you do have a couple of figures that I will be comparing him throughout the video, because that's what I do here in all my videos. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look first at what he comes with. He does come with a pair of instructions, so that's pretty nice too. They're really helpful, so you can see how to put new stuff on and off. You do have the cape over here, and over here is kind of interesting. It actually does say, "Warning may rub off," indicating the area where his crotch is and the legs. So maybe if a lot of friction happens over there, the paint might rub off, so that's something to look for in the future at least. As for other accessories, he does come with extra 2 heads, so he has 3 heads in total. This one over here, he has heat vision of a very angry face. That's pretty nice. And over here you have just an angry face Superman, so we'll pop those on later. And of course he does come with an extra pair of hands, and that's pretty nice as well. Alright, so usually I do this at the end of the video, but I'm going to start off with this first. I'm doing size comparisons right now. When it comes to 6-inch figures, I'm very picky about it. I only collect 6-inch figures. There's a reason why I don't collect a lot of Figmas or Figuarts figures, because even though they are 6-inch scale, they tend to be a little bit smaller compared to Marvel Legends or DC Universe figures. With that being said, you know, the Batman version of this, he is a little bit smaller too. You know, the Injustice Gods Among Us version, you know, I held the box in hand. I saw all the different reviews from other people. He is a little bit smaller. Of Superman though, I was banking on the idea, in fact, that he is generally a bigger person as a character himself. So I was hoping that they made him a little bit bigger and a better size and scale compared to the rest of them. And they kind of did, so we'll get into it right now. But first off, I'm going to take off this cape because it annoys the crap out of me, and I'll get into this later. But yeah, for now it'd be a lot easier to do the review about the cape. It is pretty cool, the cape, but it's kind of annoying, so we'll get into that later though. Alright, so we're going to do the first size comparison with this Superman and that one right there. And honestly, this is the biggest one, and this is the one I was most intrigued about, because either way, you don't want one Superman being inferior in size compared to the other one, especially this one of his God complex and how he is in his own universe. So here he is, and surprisingly, you know what? It really isn't that bad. Right there. Obviously, the DC Universe figures and Mattel figures tend to be a little bit bigger in scope and size. That's just how they're made. But overall, you know, it really isn't that bad. Side by side next to each other, just like this, it's pretty good. Honestly, it really is. I expected 10 times worse, to tell you the truth. And I'm really, really relieved about this. And, you know, you could chalk it up any way you want. You know, you could be like, you know, this Superman right here, he's from his own universe. He's a lot older. He's wiser, but he's slimmer because of all that. This one, you could say he's younger. He has more youth on his side. That's why he's a little bit bigger. Whatever you want to say. I honestly, in my mind, when I first bought this figure, I thought it would be a lot worse, and in reality, it really isn't that bad right there. So I'm pretty happy about it, no matter what. I mean, if you do ACBA or take pictures, or you just do your own posing for your own display, you know, it's a lot easier now to have them side by side, not looking like they're totally 2 different scales in size. So I'm happy about it. I think it's alright. That being said, here he is next to Wonder Woman right here. Not that bad. He's bigger than her, so that's always good then. And of course, here he is next to his original version of him from the Unlimited series. right there. I mean, this figure, you know, it sucks. It really does, but it started to grow on me because if you just have him on your display, it really isn't horrible, but yeah, he's definitely being replaced by this one now. So there you go. And here is Batman and Superman side by side. Truthfully, like I said before, you know I don't have the other Batman figure from Figuarts. I could be wrong, maybe they are about the same size and I just saw it differently. But either way, you know, leave a comment below if you guys know the real, you know, size comparison between these two. But other than that, here he is with this Batman. You know, I don't really mind the size. You know, Batman could have a little bit more muscle mass because he needs it. Superman doesn't really need it, so I'm fine with that. And for our last size comparison, here is the Figuarts Age of Ultron Hulk with the Superman figure from Figuarts. I think it's a pretty nice size comparison. You always have to have a Superman with his Hulk right there. Alright, with that done, let's finally take a look at him in some details and take a look at him in all his glory. Now, I don't know if you guys have read the comic books or played the video game and watched the videos, but if you haven't, you definitely should. Because if you did, you exactly know what this guy has been through. And when you look at his face, it's pretty good. You know, very stern looking face, very serious, you know exactly how he feels, what he's been through. So I like the face sculpt on him. Very stern looking, angry, serious, more mature. You know, it's a different Superman, honestly. But only complaint I have is that I do wish that the skin tone was a little bit different. More skin tone, I guess. He looks a little pale to me, but other than that, the face sculpt itself looks really good. Now going to the suit of his, man, this is just amazing looking. I like how it looks. Great job overall. The color on it is amazing also. It has a nice pearl look to it overall. Some matte in it, some gloss to it. They did a really good job in the sculpting and the paint work. Even some small things you don't even notice, but it's there, like the different paint applied here and there. Take a look at the back. It looks really nice too. I definitely like the fact that there are some parts glossy and some parts matte. You know, they could have gone either way, but mixing them two together really does complement the whole suit overall. Especially in the bottom here. I love the glossy boots over there. I love the glossy shoulder pads over here. But over here in the middle, I like how it's matte. But just overall, it looks really, really nice. And, you know, no flaws in it at all to my observation. The QC on this is really good. So, yeah, great job right there. Alright guys, so let's talk about the accessories like the different heads and the cape and stuff like that, because those things bring this figure to life. No joke, I think they look awesome looking, so let's get into that right now. So first off, he does come with the two different heads right here, and I love them both for their own reasons, but the heat vision one is probably my favorite one out of these two. So what you have to do basically is pop off the head. It's pretty simple, but you have to use a little bit of force, like that. So there you go. And stick this on really quickly. Give me 1 second. And take a look at that. Man, he is menacing looking now. And with the awesome articulation of this figure, which we'll get into later, you could get into awesome looking poses overall. Very mean, very menacing, very scary too. Have his head up like that. Heat vision, stuff like that. Let me get the cape on. Taking a look in the back over here, really quickly, you see this right here, this flap. It's really nice. I like the gloss with the shoulder pads, but it is a hinge, so you basically put the cape underneath over there, which is pretty nice. So let me get that on really quickly. If you guys know me, I hate plastic capes, I hate rubber capes, but with this figure I understand the importance of this awesome looking cape. So I'm a little torn because, you know, I might switch it for a cloth cape, but this cape is just too cool also. So as you can see, you could get into awesome looking poses. You can move the cape around and stuff like that if you want to, which is definitely really cool. With the heat vision, angry looking face. Man, so many possibilities how you want to pose this guy with this on. And what's really cool about the cape too, if you guys didn't know, there's like 3 parts to it and everything like that. They can move off. You can actually take these parts off too. It's pegged in. Just be really careful when you take it off. So if you don't want such a wide looking cape, this one's a little hard to get off. You can just give him this little plastic cape right here. It's like that. So, you know, it looks a little bit more cleaner looking, I guess you could say, which is not that bad too. So right there, you can see little pegs that go into the back of the cape. Yeah. But let's go on to the second head that he comes with, which is, you know, it's not as cool as this one, but I could see the purpose that it could bring. Like if you're just gonna have a fight or something, throwing a punch maybe, it's a good expression to have on. So, you know, he looks a little bit more angry, shouting, you know. Like I have him throwing a punch like that, sideways, like that, whatever. So it's, no, it's a decent looking head. I don't like it as much as the other two, but if you are looking for options to have, it's definitely not that bad overall. Actually, the more I look at this head sculpt now, you know, he looks a little bit more crazy than angry at different angles. So it's actually a pretty good head sculpt. And sometimes you can have him just like this, in a shouting pose, yelling at people, or just very angry there. And actually, I just realized this too, which is kind of funny. Give me 1 second to match this up. But you can have him in a shouting match, one-on-one, right there, with the Hulk, like that. So that's kind of funny. Alright, now going back to the rest of the accessory, he does come with 2 extra hands for each hand, that is. So you just pull these out like that. That was a little bit harder than I thought it would be, but yeah. And you stick them in like so. Sticking them in is a lot easier than taking it out. So yeah, you know, he has open hands. It's always good to have that for different poses if you want. Maybe some flying poses with 2 open hands. Might be a little bit better looking overall. Alright, so let's get into articulation really quickly, and you can see he has really good articulation and joints, so you get him into pretty good poses overall. Here's a flying pose like that. I'm going to take off the cape because it'll make it a lot easier for me, but you guys know the articulation joints for the cape too, which is really good as well. Alright, so let's zoom in a little bit. Alright, so basically every single part of his body has really good joints and articulation, so I'm going to say it's really good like 10 million times throughout this. But for his head, he does have a ball joint at the base and also at the neck. It's really, really good there. It's basically a ball joint too, so he has really good posability, flying pose, looking down, no problem, left and right, and also pivots, so very good articulation there at his head joint, and it's very, very sturdy too. It feels really nice and firm there. These shoulder pads are really cool also. They're actually on ball joints. I'm going to try to see if I can get an angle of that right there at the light. So that allows a lot of rotation at the joints of these shoulders. So actually, like, you could bring them up that high. You could pretty much position them any way you want, which is really cool. And they never get in the way of the shoulders movement, so that's always a plus right there. Also, really good job on the shoulder pads right there. Now for the shoulders, which are really nice, I didn't even realize it, but this figure has no bicep articulation, but he does have a pivot over here on a ball joint, so that pretty much acts like a bicep movement, so it's pretty good. He does have like a butterfly joint that comes out to extend the arm out, which is nice. Not too much, so it's pretty good. You can see how that looks like right there. Has a hinge there too, so it goes up and down all around. This great articulation overall right there. He has 2 points right there at the elbow, which is not bad. You get a little bit more than 90 degrees right there. And at the wrist, he has a ball joint hinge that goes all the way around, in and out, and swivels. So very good right there as well. Going down to the ab joint, it's a ball joint there too. Very good movement up and down, pivots left and right. Same thing at the waist, if you want to call it that too. So he has a pivot, a swivel, this extra movement overall with them combined together. And you can pretty much do whatever you want right there, which is nice. Going down to the hips, he does have T-jointed hips that go out that far, very good. You actually could bring down the hips a little bit to clear the crotch area, which is pretty nice. You do get a little bit more movement, or ease of it at least. But I like to bring him up because it looks a lot better. He does do a split, decent, not bad. He does actually have a hinge in there as well. It's not that bad right there. 2 points at the knee over here, and when you go down to his ankle, he has a swivel right there, hinge, toe articulation, and a pivot. So like I said before, his articulation is great. Very good articulation. Everything feels very sturdy, nothing feels loose or bad or anything like that. So I'm very impressed with the articulation and quality of the articulation as well. Alright guys, we are coming down to the end of this video. Long video it has been, and straight off from coming off the review, I'm gonna say I love this figure. Now I know I read some places people were either disappointed in it or they weren't as happy with it. I'm not really sure why. I'm gonna try to find out. But for me at least, when it comes down to this figure, articulation is awesome, sculpting is great, paintwork is great, quality control is great, at least for my figure. You know, all the joints move smoothly, they're firm, stiff, not stiff, but they're very firm and sturdy. Nothing feels, you know, loose or anything like that. So I had no problems with my figure at least, so maybe that's where it lies for other people, so who knows. Other than that, if I had any gripes with the figure, I would change the skin tone, like I said before, and also if he could be a little bit bigger, that'd be great, but that is not Figuarts' fault, you know, or it's not their objective. You know, they're not trying to cater to other companies, they're just catering to themselves, which I completely understand. But with that being said too, like I said before in the beginning of the video, I'm very happy with the size of this figure. It could have been a lot worse. They could have made him smaller, they could have made him skinnier. I think the way he turned out is just perfect, and I'm not going to complain at all about it. Yeah, so of that being said, if you guys do not follow the comic book or play the video game or, you know, watch any videos of Injustice Gods Among Us, I strongly recommend you try to find out some stuff about that, because the creative team really can do whatever they want. They have no restrictions, so you definitely see different storylines, different characteristics of our favorite characters in the DC universe, and really is a reason why I love this Superman so much. One of my favorite incarnations of him, honestly. And with that being said too, I'm really happy to finally get a great figure of him instead of this crap. And yeah, I love this figure. I strongly recommend getting it. I'm definitely going to get a second one now, knowing how good this is, just to have as a backup. So yeah, definitely get it if you can. It's well worth the money. You know, I have not been this happy and very satisfied with a figure since I got the Hulk figure from Figuarts as well. So I guess, you know, I'm gonna start buying more Figuarts figures, I guess. And I know I'm a little late to the game, but you know, I literally did not want to collect these because, you know, they're pricey. They are pricey figures, but you know, if you're just collecting a couple of them or just a key figure characters, it might be worth it though. Alright, so this has been a long review. I'm getting very tired now, but like I said before, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I try to be as informative as I could be, and I hope everything was to your liking, and I hope I was helpful. So that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want, just pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and go to wildandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace.